Philip here, Kindy Manager. In this very short tutorial, I'll keep it as short as I can. I want to be talking about family statements, what's shown on the statements, what you need to give to the parents, and the statements of entitlements that the government is saying that we need to be now producing for the families. Now, to find out exactly what the government wants, we'll consult the handbook, and at the time of this recording, the handbook, the latest version of the handbook, was produced in July 2019, and Scott Morrison was still the Prime Minister. All right, so let's now go to the handbook and have a look at the relevant section there, and then we're going to go and have a look at the family statements and the statement of entitlements. Now, what we've done here is we've brought the Childcare Handbook up online, and we're looking for statement of entitlements. This information is generated from legislation. So if you were to go back to the Secretary rules and find that the rules for 2017 are still in force, and over on the right hand side you can see they're talking about the statement of entitlement, what is required, and they're using the language that it now must be included. Now, thank goodness for the handbook, because what the Childcare Handbook is basically is the same information but just converted into English instead of legal talk. So I'm going to focus on the handbook. All right, now as far as statement of entitlements are concerned, we are now looking at them using the same language as the Secretary rules, and they're saying the word must provide. In the past, they've been using the language need to have the ability to provide. So we find that this is a subtle change but very important. Further on down, we can see that they have converted into English the requirements for the statement of entitlement and what the centres should be including on their statements. Also pointing out that the parents do have visibility through their Centrelink account and can any time make an inquiry on their own Centrelink account. All of this information is available to the families through both yourself, the Childcare Centre, and Centrelink account, simply because the government are wanting to be completely transparent and accountable for all of the family benefits and how they're passed on. All right, I'll just touch on one last thing before we leave the handbook, and that is, can the invoice be combined with the statement of entitlements? And they are clearly stating that this is going to be a business decision. So putting all the information into a joint statement was way too confusing, and of course are going to be extremely time consuming for you to explain to the families exactly how to interpret that information. Don't forget to send the families to our little video on how to read the family statements and statement of entitlements, and hopefully that's going to save you a lot of time explaining it to each and every family. Let's go to the Kindy Manager now and have a look and see how you can produce these statements. The quickest way for us to show you the statements is to go straight to the account screen and use the shortcut from the side. In this case, we're going to start off by just showing you the summary first. Here we can see the summary gives us exactly 1 week on each line, and at a glance the family can see an entire month's worth on their account. Here we're looking at the signature and the name being displayed, and I have to admit this is a bit of a hangover from the days where paper trail was the only option, no electronic lodgement. So we're going to get rid of the signature to give us a bit more room at the bottom of the statement by removing the signature and the name. And now we've got a lot more room on the bottom. We'll just see how much more room you've got, bigger messages. On the next example, let's include the transactions, and we can see that this is going to give us on our second page, every day has their own line, including payments that the parents have made. Government fee relief is being represented at the end of each week, and you can see on the last 2 weeks that the Kindy Manager has only estimated the fee relief and has not actually downloaded the money from Centrelink. It has not yet been transferred into your account, and it may vary by the time the government allocate fee relief because of changes in family circumstances. And finally, if we include the statement of entitlements here, we'll see on the third page we start to get all of the information that's coming down directly from Centrelink, and it's being displayed as required by government regulations. We're getting a breakup of each day, including fee relief, which is calculated on a daily basis and is even calculated to multiple decimal points and added up at the end. Further on down, we do actually get the time in and time out. Remember, the government does not calculate fee relief on the time in and time out. It calculates it on the session hours. As we continue on down, I'll just slide that down. As we continue on down, we can see a summary of all of that. Now, on the first week, fee relief has been allocated, but remember we saw on the family statement it had only been estimated, so therefore it is not being displayed on the second week. The second week has only been included on this report because of the date range, week range, that we selected when we wanted to print the report. Finally, we need to give the family a list of all of the absences. That's year to date, and that's a financial year. They are, we explained in the video for the families that they do get only 42 absences before medical certificates or court orders are required. Now, these family statements, while I've demonstrated them from here, you can, of course, isolate which report you want to include. So if it's only an account inquiry from the mother, just give them the statement of their choice, be it a summary or a detailed one. But if it's going to be a fortnightly statement which you want to comply with the government regulations, you will need to include the Statement of Entitlements. Okay, the Statement of Entitlements can be printed from the account screen for individuals. If you wanted to print a statement for everybody, the same selection process is here, where you can select any one, all, or just a combination of account formats. Putting a message in here, including any links to little videos that you want the families to review. We'll just mention here that on this particular screen, because we're going to possibly print the statements for all families, we are going to synchronize with the government for the latest information, especially if you're going to want the Statement of Entitlements, which comes directly from the CCS system. If you're wanting to go back to one of the earlier layouts, you can actually do that, but it's not going to give you the correct format. It's just one that you may be more familiar with. So it will take a few extra seconds to start the printing process because you are synchronizing in this particular case, which you do need to do when you're globally sending out the statements for the families. And finally, just a quick summary on what we've covered. Statement of Entitlements now are compulsory. We no longer have the option to print them. They're printed once a fortnight simply because fee relief is a fortnightly calculations. The Statements of Entitlements and the family statements are two separate documents and can be delivered separately or in conjunction with each other. When globally sending out the entitlements, don't forget to select the sync option to get the very latest information down from the government computer before sending them out to the families. If you're only sending out a family statement, you do not have to select the synchronize option. And finally, please feel free to use the videos that we've produced for the families to explain the statements, hoping that that's going to save you a lot of time. Feel free to take the link and pop it even onto your own website, but at very least just perhaps pop it onto the bottom of the family statements. And once again, thanks for watching.